Hello friends, welcome to my channel. In this video I'm going to discuss Georgian era as we discuss the previous ages and after Edwardian age comes the Georgian era, and this name refers to King George V of England, and it ranges from 1910 to 1936, and its influence can be seen in the upcoming modern period. So let's discuss the background of this age. As we see in previous ages, the Jacobean age, there was a revolt, a rebellion for the throne, and Jacobite revolt was there, and Jacobite Rebellion, a battle of succession for British throne, and this name is given to English and Scottish supporters of exiles Stuart dynasty, in particularly the Roman Catholic line of kings, and the name come from Jacobus, and which was Latin name for King James VII. And the revolution started 1689 and ended in 1747. And two things sparkled the revolt: the birth of heir, and King James put into law the Declaration of Indulgence. And after the death of King James VII, and James Francis Edward Stuart was now rightful King of England. We'll see Edwardian period as well, and then comes the Georgian period, and so we'll discuss this Georgian period. Georgian period refers to reign of George V, and and it also refers to a former description as implies chronologically and covers the Georgian poets include Ralph Hodgson, John Masefield, W.H. Davies, and many more. Now we'll see the characteristics of this age. It was a time of immense social change in Britain with the beginning of Industrial Revolution, which began the process of intensifying social divisions and emergence of rival political parties such as Whigs and Tories. And the scholars of literature are usually working with prose novels, and satire become very popular among readers during Georgian era. And Georgian literature produced primarily in monasteries and ecclesiastical hymns. That is another genre of literature, and religious biographies and chronicles are well known as biblical and liturgical translations are there among the principal works of this age. And in rural areas, the agricultural revolution takes place. This saw a huge change to movement of people and decline of small communities, growth of cities. Because after that industrial revolution, people migrated to cities for the luxuries, and so there took place a growth of cities and beginning of integrated transportation system. So now we'll see Georgian poetry. Georgian poetry today is typically considered to be works of minor poets. They anthologized minor poets, and their poetry was anthologized, means compiled by Edward Marsh. And the themes and subject matter tended to be rural, pastoral in nature, and they treated delicately and traditionally rather than with passion. So we'll see the poetry of this age in detail. And now characteristics, with another some more characteristics: highly influenced by classical architecture and Palladianism, a philosophy of design based on writing and work of Andrea Palladio, who tried to recreate this style of building of ancient Rome. And from the mid 1760s, a variety of neoclassical modes were fashionable. Later Georgian architecture is characterized by its proportion and balance. And so the main characteristics to keep in mind for of this architecture consist of simple storybox room deep using strictly symmetrical settings, door center topped with rectangular windows. So this is description of the architecture of that age. And Georgian architecture was popular especially in America, but also in Canada as well. Now we'll see the poetry of this age. Georgian poets such as Ralph Hodgson, John Masefield, W.H. Davies, and Rupert Brooke. The Georgian period usually refers to reign of George V. Georgian poetry today is typically considered to be works of minor poets, as I already told you, and they were anthologized by Edward Marsh. And the themes and subject matter tended to be rural, pastoral, nature, and treated delicately and traditionally rather than with passion, and which was found in previous periods. And there was new experimentation, and which led to modern age poetry. So Georgian poetry is, now we'll see characteristics of Georgian poetry. It is composed in traditional mode, and best work of Georgian poets appear in the period just before, during, and immediately after the First World War. And Rupert Brooke, W.H. Davies, and Edmund Blunden, Walter de Maro, and also the war poets including Siegfried Sassoon, Isaac Rosenberg, and Wilfred Owen belong to this group. Unlike the symbolist poet authors Simon and W.B. Yeats, and Georgian poets fell back to their native roots. And now modern poetry of this age, and they paid loving attention to English countryside, means towards nature, rural areas, and they evoke a wistful nostalgia for familiar traditions of rural life, because their rural life was diminished due to industrial revolution. And Georgian poetry is noted for its minute observation of flora, fauna, that is mean the related to flowers, plants, plantation, without any intellectual comment on them. And in the portrayal of human life, Georgian poetry was anti-intellectual. So this is all about Georgian poetry and Georgian age. It was a very short period. Hope you understand. The notes are in the description. Thank you for watching.